What is up, guys? Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Kevin Kreitz. This is the channel where we go over to crypto news followed by 5 charts every day. Today we're looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, COTI, and Quant. And as always, timestamps are down in the description below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that bell on to catch notifications for all daily uploads. The market is having a Bitcoin pullback today. We talked about that yesterday. I mean, everybody was expecting it, that at some point from that insane amount of daily candles that Bitcoin put in the green, at some point we were going to have to see a red candle, and finally we are seeing a bit of a correction. Still Bitcoin in the high 38,000s. You have to think about the fact that just a week or so ago, Bitcoin was pushing 29,000. So market is looking a little rough today, but at the end of the day, it's just a slight pullback considering how much Bitcoin has pumped. Ethereum also having a bit of a pullback below 2,500. I was surprised to see Ethereum following Bitcoin's lead, but at the end of the day, it still is the case that Ethereum is connected to Bitcoin. But it's going to be interesting seeing as we lead into the London hard fork, August 5th, I believe, if there's going to be any change in that. I mean, Ethereum is still pretty close to 2,500, and it doesn't really need to push that much higher to potentially start outperforming Bitcoin. I mean, at the price target that it's currently at, it still is outperforming Bitcoin to an extent, but it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on that. We have Cardano pumping today. We're going to take a look at Cardano's chart along with COTI. Cardano and COTI, they usually do pump together. They are related. We'll touch on that later. Another shout out, Luna. If you guys go back to our video from yesterday, there it is, Terra Luna hitting our price targets of above $14. Luna is up around 54% this week. That is great for Terra Luna. Overall, the market's looking choppy. Quant up around 10% again today. We'll be diving into Quant's chart later at the end of the video. We have Axie Infinity down around 6% today, trading around $38. I'd like to cover Axie Infinity more. If you guys aren't new here, you know I've always covered the chart since it was around $10, basically, somewhere around there. But as far as price action goes, I'm still looking for that $35 bounce potentially for Axie Infinity. It's still trading in the range that we talked about. I may cover its chart tomorrow, but I would like to cover Axie Infinity as well as a lot of these other smaller projects like DPET. Because if you're not new here, you know I've been covering DPET the last few days. I talked about exiting my position. I've personally been involved since DPET since around $1, tweeted about it around $2, went all the way as high as around 10.9, I believe. But a few days ago, we did see the chart start to look a little choppy. Around $7.50 is where I talked about exiting my position with anything that I was still holding in DPET, talking about the possibility that it may drop down to around 5.9. And we see here the DPET did in fact drop down to 5.6. Now I was saying 5.9 to 4.9 is a possibility with a bounce around $6, which it does look like DPET is currently doing. Now, as far as price action goes, I'm still very bullish on the potential of DPET, but I'm not currently re-entering this position because as far as this goes, I believe that we are in another possible bubble. And that is the reason I want to be covering Axie Infinity, but I may have to do it in a separate video every day, which is what I wanted a little bit of feedback from you guys if possible. And just a heads up, I am about to go on a rant about NFTs and NFT gaming and some of my opinions on the space and the bubble that we are currently in. So if that is not a topic of interest for you, jump down to the timestamps, click on Bitcoin. I just want to talk to the people who actually have an interest in this topic because I would like to start doing some videos exactly on this space and not so much just reviews of the games. I want to focus on this space because we are in a bubble similar to what we experienced with the meme coin bubble, in my opinion. The meme coin bubble started off with Dogecoin. Dogecoin being a meme coin that ran to insane numbers that it had no business going anywhere near, but tweets from Elon and some media hype definitely helped influence that. And at the end of the day, Dogecoin did become so much more than just your average meme coin. But Dogecoin started off the domino for the meme coin bubble, which ended up being a bunch of coins that are worth nothing now, most of them at least, but they ran insane percents and there was so much opportunity at the time. And I think we're in a similar bubble now with Axie Infinity. Now, Axie Infinity is not similar to Dogecoin, but at the end of the day, Axie Infinity has started off the domino for the NFT gaming bubble. And I don't want to ignore the NFT gaming bubble, just like I didn't ignore the meme coin bubble. I don't think there's anything wrong with meme coins. At the end of the day, wherever there's a lot of price action, there's a lot of opportunity. And I think it's not a smart move to ignore opportunity or a lot of volume in trading. So as far as covering these projects go, I don't necessarily want to be mixing up these blue chip cryptos with some of these smaller NFT projects, especially since the fact that we're kind of only covering 5 charts a day, and I can only really put so much time into this for the time being. But as far as covering these projects go, I'd like to start keeping a much closer eye on Axie Infinity, maybe put out a video every other day, as well as cover some of these smaller projects and look at their charts and talk about possible price action. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these projects, just like DPET, I gave you guys a heads up when it started to not look so great. We have to keep in mind that these are small projects. And for me personally, a lot of them are just going to be short-term trades, short-term positions. And if any of them do show Axie Infinity type potential, like I said, if DPET goes back up into a bullish territory, if DPET starts to fulfill its promises and release more avenues in the game and some of the more features in the game, I'll happily buy back into DPET at a higher price. But I'm not going to ignore the fact or be ignorant to the fact that we are in an NFT gaming bubble and there's going to be a lot of inflated price action. And I do think Axie Infinity is a very legit project with a lot of potential and it could keep pumping in price. But the reason I want to correlate Axie Infinity to some of these smaller projects is because Axie Infinity is their Dogecoin, in my opinion. As far as price action goes, they will mimic and mirror price action. When Axie Infinity is pumping and doing great, we're probably going to see a lot of these smaller NFT gaming projects pop off. And whenever Axie Infinity is pulling back, maybe consolidating, maybe retracing a bit, we're going to see price action dip on these smaller NFT projects. Again, just in my opinion. So as far as covering Axie Infinity with these small projects go, I just want a little feedback from you guys as to how you feel about me putting out a video every couple days. And if this is something you guys want to see, I need you guys to hit the like button. I need you guys to leave a comment. Let me know this is something that actually interests you guys as well. And I will put in the time to make those videos available every couple days. So I just want to cover that. I still think there's a lot of potential in the NFT gaming space. I have a lot more thoughts on this space. I think this is so exciting to see that gaming can finally generate revenue for its users. I think that was a long time coming. I think it's necessary. And I think we're going to see a lot of legit games start to add features similar to what Axie has put into its game, because now the door has been opened where a gamer can finally earn for making a game what it is, because a game is nothing without the ecosystem of an active community. So as far as this goes, if this is something that interests you guys, I'm very interested in it. I'm very excited about the whole space in general. But if I'm going to be doing videos on Axie and all these small projects, as well as the videos I'm already doing, I just want some feedback from you guys about how you feel about this idea. So let me know down in the comments. Hit the like button as long as you're going to go leave a comment as well. And let me know if this is a type of video that you would like me to release every couple days. Looking at Bitcoin's daily chart, let's zoom in here, turn on our notes from the other day. So as far as price action goes, it's pretty much moved how we talked about. If we jump to the 4-hour chart, we'll get a bit of a clear picture. So you can see here, price action has moved into the Kumo cloud. We talked about it needing to stay above 38.5. Price action dipped below 38.5, jumped off the support line we talked about, 37.7. A little bit below it, actually. It went around 37.5, but it did find support around 37.7. And we do see the Bitcoin is now stuck right in this price channel, 37.7 to about 38.5. And I talked about 38.5 for a few days being a key indicator for me as to where Bitcoin is headed in price action. If Bitcoin can't reclaim 38.5, we're going to see 37.7. Below that, we're going to see 37.1. And below that, we're going to see 36. But as far as Bitcoin getting bullish now, it's got to get back above 38.5. That is going to be the key one. We've talked about this many times with 38.5 or below. Bitcoin's in a bearish state, 38.5 or above. Bitcoin is in its bullish state as far as the time being goes. So Bitcoin's got to reclaim 38.5. And then it's got to get back outside the Kumo cloud, which is just around 39. And we talked about some of these price targets yesterday being 40.5, but really right now, it's really got to get back above 40. If it gets above 40, build support there. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get back above 40.5. And then Bitcoin from there has the opportunity to get bullish, probably retest 42.5. But getting back above 38.5 is going to be its main target for the time being. Above there, 39 is going to be another resistance level it may run into. And above all, it's going to be around 40 to 40.5 are going to be the upper resistance levels. Let's jump back to the one-day chart. Let's turn off all these notes and turn on some different indicators. So we're going to turn off the Ichimoku for a moment, and we're going to turn on the VWAP. So the VWAP and the 600 EMA, you can see it here in purple. So what I generally keep an eye on sometimes is the 15-minute chart. And I want to show you guys what happened on the 15-minute chart leading up to today. So the reason that I kept saying Bitcoin was looking very bullish, if you see here, right around here, price action is around 29. So this was the big crash. Bitcoin managed to get back above the 600 EMA, and I want you to watch the VWAP and I want you to watch the 600 EMA. So this is generally at least on a 15-minute time frame. I kind of keep an eye on this to kind of keep an eye on momentum. And as far as price action goes, you can see that the momentum was in this upward motion. But around the August 1st, you can see here, Bitcoin drops back down to the 600 EMA, and now it is trading below the 600 EMA, and the VWAP and the 600 EMA are showing this downward motion. So as far as this goes, this is a bit of an indication to me as the possibility that Bitcoin may potentially trend lower in price. It really depends on what happens here. And if we look here, Bitcoin's got to get back above 39. If it gets back above 40,000 at any point, then Bitcoin is back potentially above the 600 EMA. I mean, I have to look at the chart when that happens, but if it gets back above 40,000, then it's back above this 600 EMA, and prices may continue to trend up from there. But again, this is not exact. It's just another indicator I keep an eye on in shorter time frames, and we are seeing a bit of a momentum shift, and we may see prices trend down. I wouldn't be surprised to see us end up somewhere around here, maybe 35.9 to 36.3. So that's just something I'm keeping an eye on as far as momentum goes. There is a visually clear shift in Bitcoin's momentum. That doesn't necessarily mean price action can't just shoot back up above 40,000 and continue to pump up in price, but this is an indication to me that we may see a bit of a pull back in price for the time being. Again, that could change at any time. So let's turn off the VWAP, let's turn back on the Ichimoku, and let's jump over to the 4-hour chart. And now, keeping in mind that there is a bit of a shift in momentum, let's talk about price targets. So looking at the 4-hour chart, we see a few things. Stochastic RSI is very low, but that does not mean that it can't go lower, because if we look at the 1 day, you have to keep in mind how long the stochastic RSI was hanging out up there while Bitcoin was putting in green candle after green candle. So if we go back to the 4-hour chart, again, keep in mind on the daily, we're seeing a bit of a drop on the stochastic RSI finally. So with that in mind, as far as a bullish move goes, Bitcoin's got to reclaim 38.5. That's the big one. If it can reclaim 38.5, it's got to get above 39,000. If it manages to get above 39,000 and get above 40,000, in my opinion, Bitcoin will go to 40.5 and potentially higher from there. But if it can't reclaim 38.5 or gets rejected at 39,000, I'd start looking for a pullback to around 37.7. Below that, I keep my eye on this price target here of around 37.1, and below that, right along this moving average, it'll probably come up a bit, but around 36.1 to 35.9 for Bitcoin. Looking at Ethereum's daily chart, let's zoom in here, turn on our notes from last time. As far as price action goes, Ethereum is still outperforming Bitcoin, and I'll show you guys in a moment why. As long as Ethereum stays in that range, even closing on this red candle here, that's still decent for Ethereum, because Ethereum's next candle is going to pop outside of this Kumo cloud, and it still has the potential to push for 2,800 or above on the daily as far as the London hard fork goes. I mean, what happens after that is still a question mark, but leading up to it, it's no surprise if Ethereum keeps outperforming Bitcoin. Because if we go to the 4-hour chart, turn off all our notes, zoom out here and compare Ethereum's 4-hour chart to Bitcoin's 4-hour chart, we see a very different story. So it's no surprise that Ethereum is still outperforming Bitcoin leading up to the London hard fork. Stochastic RSI is very low on the 4-hour, just like it is for Bitcoin. But if we look at the 1 day chart, stochastic RSI is still very high for Ethereum and not quite starting to dip down in price, versus if we jump over here to Bitcoin's stochastic RSI, we do see that nice curve on that dip, which was needed after the amount of days that price action was up there, but we're not seeing that on Ethereum. So as far as price action goes for Ethereum, we're going to look at the same price targets we looked at yesterday. Ethereum's got to get back above 25.20. If it can get back above 25.20, and really it's got to get above 26.20 leading into the London hard fork, but from there Ethereum does have a shot for 28.20 or above. But as far as pullback targets go, at the very minimum, it's got to stay above 24.60, or at least manage to stay somewhere around there and claim that support level. But if it loses 24.60, I keep my eye on 23.30, and below that 2200. But I would be surprised to see that happen for Ethereum. So price targets for Ethereum, pretty straightforward. It's got to get back above 25.20, and from there it's really got to get above 26.20, and above 26.20 is where Ethereum is very bullish and has the potential to shoot for 2800. But as far as pullbacks go, it's really got to stay above 24.60, and below that I'd start keeping my eye on 23.30, and from below that I keep my eye on 2200. Looking at Cardano's daily chart, let's zoom in here. And why are we looking at Cardano again, and why is Cardano pumping today? I'll show you guys right now. Cardano ADA is finally getting listed in Japan. If we come down here to this tweet, Cardano was finally listed in Japan. Japan has extremely strict rules for crypto exchange listings. Only a small number of tokens can be listed in Japan, and ADA is now on that list. So does this mean Cardano is going to skyrocket? I don't know, but as far as price action goes, we're seeing a very clear pump. So we're going to be covering this. We're going to be looking at price action. We're going to be looking at price targets. As far as price targets go, it's pretty much the same as last time. Above 147, 146 is where Cardano has a possibility to get very bullish. And there really isn't a lot of resistance. I mean, it's already challenging the Kumo cloud, and this is the very first legitimate challenge since early May that we're seeing from Cardano as far as the Kumo cloud goes. So if price action can manage to get above 147 right there, Cardano is at 138 right now. That is not a huge leap. I would not be surprised if we zoom out here, take a look at that price target above. If Cardano can get back to 159 and above, there is a possibility with this listing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Stochastic RSI is very high, but as far as the RSI goes, you can see here it's shot up into uptrend zone. If we jump over to the 4-hour chart, you can see a bit of a story here. If we turn off all these notes, it's not exactly the most bullish setup, but it does not look terrible. And there is the possibility that if it can manage to get back above 140, I would not be surprised to see Cardano possibly challenge 142, 143, and potentially 146 and above is where Cardano has the possibility to get very bullish. But at this time right now that I'm filming this, it really does need to manage to get back above 139 and really claim at least 140. If we see Cardano around 140, I would not be surprised to see Cardano pump higher from there. So as far as price action goes, I will be keeping an eye on the price targets I just listed. That I want to see Cardano get above 140, 141, show some strength. It's already pulling back a bit, but it does have the possibility to keep pushing up in price. I mean, there's another hour until this candle that I'm looking at closes here. So if this candle can have a nice close pressed up to around 138, 139, I would not be too surprised to see Cardano push for around 139. If it can manage to claim 140, then Cardano's got a shot at 141, 142. 146.5 is going to be Cardano's major resistance. If it can manage to claim 146.5, 147, then Cardano has a shot at pushing at these higher price targets of around 159 to 160. But as far as pullback targets, I'll be keeping my eye on some of these price targets here. Around 132 is going to be my initial pullback target I'll keep my eye on. If it can't manage to hold 132, I start to keep my eye on this price target here of around 131. If it goes below there, Cardano's probably lost a bit of this bullish momentum temporarily, and I start to keep my eye on this price target down here of around 123. But Cardano does look bullish, and if it can manage to push up on these candles here and get back above 140, Cardano does have a legitimate shot at making a bullish move. And as far as the 1 day goes, turning off all these notes, you can see here it is finally pressing into the Kumo cloud, and if Cardano can get back above here 146, 147, Cardano has a shot at 159 to 160 and above. Pullback targets I'll be keeping an eye on 132, 131, and 123, and below that I keep my eye on this area here of around 120, but I don't think that's going to happen for the time being. So price targets, it's got to get above 140 to make a push for these higher price targets, if possibly 146 to 159. Pullback targets 132, 131, and 123. Looking at COTI's daily chart, as far as price action goes, we are seeing COTI mimic Cardano, and that is not a surprise. I do believe they have some kind of partnership together. So when we do see Cardano pump, it shouldn't be too much of a surprise to see COTI pump as well. But we don't see COTI pumping at the same level of momentum that we see Cardano pumping. Also not a surprise. You know that Cardano we saw here, if we turn off all these notes, pressed right into the Kumo cloud. COTI on the other hand is just barely challenging the Kumo cloud. So I'd be surprised if COTI can get above this level. If COTI can manage to get above this level here of around 15 cents, then it does have a shot to make a push for this resistance level along the moving average, which would come around 18, 19 cents. If COTI can manage to push to around 18, 19 cents, it does have a shot to push for outside of the Kumo cloud, which would be around 20 cents. If it can manage to get above 20 cents, then COTI does have the opportunity to get very bullish. And there really isn't too much resistance on this fall that COTI went to. Maybe around here, I keep my eye on a little bit of price action in this area around 25 cents. So if COTI can manage to get above 20 cents, then I'd imagine it can make a pretty easy push towards 26 cents. But as far as price action goes, we're not seeing the same level of momentum. If Cardano starts to show a real pump, then there is a possibility COTI will follow into that Kumo cloud and also have a very decent pump as well. You can see here, look at that RSI, always been pretty low, but all of a sudden as of July 19th, we're seeing COTI show quite a bit of strength on the daily RSI. So there is definitely something going on with COTI. So as far as price action goes, it's got to get above this 15-cent price target. If it can manage to get above 15 cents, it does have the possibility to shoot for around 18 cents. If it can manage to claim 18 cents, then it can manage to push it to around 20 cents. 20 cents and above is where COTI will get bullish. And from there, I wouldn't be surprised to see COTI push for around 26 cents. Pullback targets, pretty straightforward. If it can't manage to push into the Kumo cloud, initially I keep my eye on 12 cents and below that 11 cents. Looking at Quant's daily chart, and again, we're looking at Quant's Binance daily chart. So we're going to jump timeframes all the way down to 1 hour, which is where we're going to get the most information possible as to what has been happening with Quant. We're going to turn on our notes from last time. And if you're new here and you're wondering why are we looking at Quant's Binance chart, because again, in my opinion, it's no secret that Binance was the catalyst for Quant's massive move. Yes, there was a bit of a buildup leading up to the Binance listing, but getting listed on Binance is definitely something that moves price action. So let's turn on these notes and talk about what we are looking at as far as price action. We talked about a pullback to this range around 143, which it did hit. You can see here, pulled into the Kumo cloud, ran to resistance at the top of the Kumo cloud, came back down to this area of around 143, a good amount of support there, and now we're seeing a decent amount of volume with a big push above the Kumo cloud again. So is Quant going to get bullish from here? So as far as price action goes, 163 is going to be resistance, and with that candle right now, which we're 44 minutes away from on the hourly of closing, we are seeing a decent amount of downward pressure, especially this candle right here as well. Now if Quant can manage to get back above 163 and from there head back towards 171, that's going to be the other area that we talked about last time. If Quant can manage to build support above 171, then I would not be too surprised to see Quant head back. Well, I mean, it'll run into a bit of resistance around 178, but it's really not a lot of resistance around there. I'd imagine if Quant can claim 171 with strength, maybe push towards 172, we should see a 192 Quant again potentially. Now don't get me wrong, it may run into resistance around 179. It never really pushed to 192 and claimed it. You see this long wick down here? That means it really did not spend that much time around 192 as far as the hourly goes. 179 is going to be the top for Quant in my opinion as far as a push, which is why I wouldn't be too surprised to see it actually lose steam right around here around 172. That doesn't mean that price action can't continue up from here though. If Quant shows strength, pushes towards 172, 173 and claims it and pushes towards 179 above, Quant really doesn't have a lot of resistance and it's already shown that. If Quant claims 180, we should see a bit of a jump in price for Quant again, and maybe Quant keeps pumping from there. I'd be very surprised by that. We're not really seeing a trend change on the hourly, but again, you never know. I mean, there really isn't a lot of information on the hourly chart as far as Binance goes. But in my opinion, I think this is a bit of a pump like this, comes down, then it comes back up, kind of retraces from there. So that's kind of what we're seeing here potentially. Now that doesn't mean that's definitely going to happen with Quant. As far as price action goes, we'll find out in the next few hours really if Quant can reclaim 172 with strength, push towards 173. I would not be surprised to see Quant challenge 179, and if it manages to claim 179, then Quant's got a pretty good shot to go back to 192 or above. If you zoom in here on the hourly, it's showing a bit of resistance, a bit of indecision. It really all depends on this next candle. If it pushes back down to the Kumo cloud, keep my eye on this area right around here. Let me grab a price label around 161 and below. Anything below 160 to 159 would give me some indication that Quant is losing steam on this attempted pump. If it goes anywhere below 156, then Quant is most likely trending back down to this price target here of around 143. So price targets for Quant, pretty straightforward. It's got to stay above 163, build some strength towards 170, above 172, build strength to 179, and above 179, Quant has a decent shot to 192 or above. But if it dips below 163, if it can't maintain 159, if it pulls back to 157 or below, if you see Quant trading around 155, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Quant back at 143, and then eventually it may reach these price targets of around 130 to 120 for Quant. All right, folks, that's all for today. If there's any charts you want to look at in the future, leave it down in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn that bell on to catch notifications for all daily uploads. If you're not following me on Twitter, KevinCrates_ on Twitter. I'm extremely active on there. Anytime you tweet at me, I will always tweet back at you. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'm out.